Hello, I'm Dr. Terry Susan Fine, Content Specialist for the Florida Joint Center for Citizenship, which is part of the School of Politics, Security, and International Affairs at the University of Central Florida in Orlando. Today we look at Benchmark 2.1, defining the term citizen and explaining the constitutional means of becoming a U.S. citizen. In Part 2, we focus on how permanent residency plays a role in obtaining citizenship and the impact of the naturalization process on society, government, and the political process. We can see that these issues are restated in the benchmark clarifications. So what is permanent residency, and what is the role of permanent residency in obtaining citizenship? What is the impact of the naturalization process on society, government, and the political process? So first we look at permanent residency. Permanent residency is something that people often refer to as securing a green card. Permanent residency means that a person has been in the United States for a certain period of time, they haven't broken any laws, they have been good stewards of the country, and they would like to take their commitment to the United States and to being a citizen of the United States more deeply, meaning that they want to work, they want to otherwise participate in various areas of public life, getting a bank account, other kinds of things, making purchases, getting loans, and permanent residency as established with a green card demonstrates that this person has already fulfilled other obligations such as residency and also not breaking any laws and fulfilling other requirements in order to get to this step. So what is permanent residency as it relates to the path to citizenship? First, a person has to have been a lawful permanent resident for at least 5 years. However, that number is 3 years if the person is married to a U.S. citizen. The person must apply for naturalization, and they must meet certain eligibility requirements, which include being at least 18 years of age, being able to read, write, and speak basic English, and to be of good moral character. Now, in Part 1, we discussed the idea that Congress makes these rules. And so here we see some of the rules that Congress has made using its power under Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution. So now we're going to brush up on our graphic literacy skills by looking at the impact of the naturalization process on society, government, and the political process, looking at this line graph. So we can look at the line graph, first looking at the blue line. And what we see on the left is that we're looking at the percentage of immigrants in the United States. That's the immigrant share. And what we're looking at on the right side of the vertical part of the graph, we're looking at the number of immigrants in millions in the United States, and that is the purple line. So what the blue line shows us is that when we're focusing on the immigrant share in the United States, that blue line started about 10% in the earlier years that are represented on the graph, up to 15, then we see a dip down to 1970, and then we've seen a steady increase since then. So think about what it means, right? We're talking about society, the impact on society, government, and the political process. So think about what that means in terms of how immigrants become a part of American society. So the larger the immigrant share, the more that immigrants are going to have an impact on society, government, and the political process. There might be a strong emphasis on bringing in certain businesses and certain skills and certain trades, and also an emphasis on bringing in various traditions that may be practiced in the immigrant's home country. We also know that immigrants who have children in the United States, those children are natural-born U.S. citizens. And so what this means is that individuals whose parents themselves are immigrants are natural-born. That means that they might have opportunities that their parents won't have. Among others, they don't need to go through the naturalization process, and if they are so inclined, of course, once they're 35 years old, they can run for president of the United States. And so we do see that there are expectations and discussions with policymakers about how to respond to the share of immigrants living in the United States, what types of services, what types of needs are in place, and in what types of ways can we be certain to welcome immigrants into this country who are coming through this naturalization process and pursuing opportunities in the United States. Now let's look at the purple line. The purple line takes a very, very different shape. The purple line is the number of immigrants in the country in the millions over this period of time. And we can see in the last 50 years, there's been a significant spike. So there's been a far different pattern between the immigrant share and the number of immigrants in the United States. And so as the number of immigrants in the United States increases, relative to the United States population, we also might see a change in the U.S. experience. Again, there might be a focus more on putting pressure on government to take action to address immigration policy in a way that that might be better serving of immigrants. There might be ways of looking at business development and community development and other kinds of things. So here we see some information that leads to an interesting discussion about the impact of the naturalization process on society, government, and the political process. Thank you for joining me for Middle School Civics Highlights. Do you still have questions? Please contact us using the information that appears on the screen. Till next time, I'm Dr. Terry Susan Fine. Thank you for joining me.